Welcome to rSlash Am I the Butthole, where OP scams a scammer. Am I the butthole for telling a woman to charge a guy more at a yard sale? I was shopping around our city's yard sales yesterday and stopped to look through some clothes. While I was looking, a guy walked up and asked the old lady running the sale if she had anything golf related. My ears perked up because I've just recently gotten into golf. The lady said that she had her late husband's clubs, but didn't know what they'd be worth, so she dragged them out to show the guy. It was obvious the guy knew golf by the way that he took a couple of practice swings, and you could tell by his car and clothing he appeared to be well off. As he looked around the bag, the lady was telling him that her husband had just passed and that she didn't know if the clubs were worth anything. He said they weren't that great and offered $200 for everything. She seemed hesitant and said that she didn't know, and he just kind of talked over her and said, "Here, I'll go grab the money," and walked towards the car. I walked over to see what was in the bag, and for anyone who knows golf, I'll throw this out there. An almost new GT3 driver, 3 wood gently used Mizuno irons, nice Titleist wedges. I don't know anything about golf, but OP writes nice Titleist wedges? What's a Titleist wedges? A very nice looking Scotty putter and a great condition Titleist cart bag. The stuff combined would be a steal at $1,000. Obviously, this lady's late husband had spent a good penny on the clubs, and I felt bad for her. So I told her she should pass on the guy's offer and have someone at a local Courses Pro shop help her price the stuff out to sell if she wanted. She seemed totally shocked when I told her the driver and 3 wood were probably worth $800 alone. When the guy came back, he was glaring at me, and when he tried to hand the lady the cash, she said no thanks and that she was going to get the stuff appraised. He got upset and told her that she can't back out of a deal, so I chimed in that they didn't really make a deal. He got pissed at me and told me I needed to mind my business. The lady then told him that she wasn't interested again and to please leave. He walked to the end of the driveway and just stood there angry like my toddler would. Before he walked away, he called me a butthole and stomped off. The whole thing was more funny than anything to me. I was telling this story to my coworkers today, and they were all dogging on me, saying I should have kept my mouth shut and let the guy get a good deal. But it felt wrong letting him rip her off. So, am I the butthole here? I don't understand why there seems to be this unspoken rule that OP should be on the side of the guy who was buying the clubs and not on the side of the sad, poor widow. Whatever OP does here, he's taking one of their sides. Even if he does nothing, let's keep in mind that doing nothing is still a choice. He's taking the side of the golfer. And then also there's the pure capitalism angle where if the other guy wanted a good deal, well then by that logic, doesn't OP have every right to outbid the other guy and say, well actually, I'd pay $800 for it. That's just how the free market works. Everything is worth as much as someone is willing to pay for it. So this is just a really stupid argument no matter how you slice it. OP, you get an easy 0 out of 5 buttholes. My 4-year-old kid watches Bluey a lot, and there's actually an episode of Bluey about a nice old lady at a yard sale who's trying to sell a mobile scooter, and she gets kind of sort of scammed by a very mean lady. And so I think if 4-year-olds can understand the nuances of how this is bad, then everyone else in the story should be able to understand why this is bad. Am I the butthole for telling off a lady in a supermarket after she made a teenage cashier cry? So this happened yesterday, and I'm still wondering if I overreacted. I'm a 35-year-old woman, and I was doing my usual weekly grocery shopping at a local supermarket. It was a busy afternoon, and the line at the checkout was pretty long. I was waiting patiently when I noticed the woman in front of me, probably mid-50s, becoming increasingly agitated as the teenage cashier, who couldn't have been older than 17, was scanning her items. The cashier seemed a bit flustered. I could tell that she was probably new, making a few mistakes here and there, but nothing serious. The older woman, however, was not having it. She started muttering under her breath, rolling her eyes, and tapping her foot. Finally, when the cashier accidentally scanned an item twice and needed to call for a supervisor to void it, the woman lost it. She started berating the poor girl, saying things like, "How hard can it be to do this job? You can't even do basic tasks. You're wasting people's time." She just kept going on, and the more she yelled, the more flustered the cashier got until she started tearing up. I stood there for a second, hoping the lady would cool down, but she didn't. The poor cashier was clearly trying her best to keep it together. That's when I stepped in. I said to her, You don't have the right to treat someone like that. She's doing her best, and it's just a mistake. If you're so unhappy, maybe you should try working like her for a day and see how easy it is." The woman looked stunned and told me to mind my own business. I replied, "It is my business when you're making a kid cry over something as stupid as groceries." The cashier's supervisor had arrived by then and stepped in to handle the situation, and the woman stormed off, still muttering and cursing. After she left, the cashier thanked me with teary eyes, but a couple of people behind me in line gave me looks like I was the one who had done something wrong. Now I'm second-guessing myself. Am I the butthole for telling her off? OP, the world would be a better place if people would stop trashing on minimum wage workers just to make them feel better about themselves. I will share a somewhat similar story in my life. It's like a really dark memory that I look back on not fondly. And it's probably going to sound lame when I tell it to you, but it's like an unforgettable memory to me. After I graduated from college, I just didn't know what my next step in life was going to be. I got a job working night shift at a grocery store just to pay the bills. And I was applying for jobs and not getting any jobs. And I was just sort of stuck in my college town. All my friends had moved out and graduated. And it was just me alone in a city with no friends, no career prospects. I didn't even see the sun, really, because I was working night shifts. And I got increasingly more and more depressed as the months went by working at the supermarket. And one night, I was probably one of 3 people in the entire big, huge supermarket, the other being like a manager and then some stocker. And my job was to manage the front self-checkout kiosks. And it was probably like 4 a.m. when the store was dead empty. And this other college kid came in and was checking out groceries for himself. And I was just so depressed and miserable and in my own head that I wasn't really paying attention. I was just staring off into space thinking, what am I doing with my life? And the college guy had some issue and he was trying to get my attention, and I was just so out of it that I wasn't really listening. And so it took him a couple times to get my attention. And then he did, and then I fixed the error. And then as he left, he walked past me and muttered, "F***ing jackass," under his breath. Which is kind of understandable because he was like the one and only customer in the store and I wasn't paying attention to the one customer. So I could understand why he'd be frustrated. I was just so sad and being a sad sack that I couldn't focus. And that was just like, I was already really down, and that was a kick while I was really down, and it was too much for me at that moment. So I just went into like a little room that only workers had access to, and I just sat in a chair and cried for like 10 minutes. Then I'm like, well, this is pathetic, and I got up and I went back to work. So, I don't know what the point of sharing this story is. Cashiers have feelings too. Maybe she was just having a bad day. Maybe she was just new. Who cares? The point is, why be mean to someone just because they scan an item twice? As if this older woman who was upset has never made a mistake in her life. Anyways, OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I wish more people were like you. Am I the butthole for not bringing my daughter's friend home and making her parents come get her? My daughter and I live about an hour outside of New York City. Since she was a baby, I've taken her into the city on most weekends. As she got older, she occasionally brought friends with her. They always know the rules. Bring a bag with things for the train, carry your own stuff, stick together, expect lots of walking, and have fun. Phones are fine, but I encourage screen-free activities. I always speak to parents beforehand and emphasize the walking. We sometimes walk 45 minutes or more. For her 12th birthday last weekend, my daughter wanted to go to the city with friends, visit favorite spots, have dinner, and maybe see a show. My mom helped pay for tickets and joined us. My daughter invited 3 girls, 2 longtime friends who know the routine, and a new friend, Leah. I called Leah's mom, explained the rules, warned about the walking, and suggested Leah bring something for the train since the signal there is bad. Leah's mom said that she was excited. My daughter also explained expectations. On the train, Leah brought only her phone, got bored when the signal cut out, refused to chat or play games with the others, and complained. When we arrived, she immediately asked for a cab. My daughter reminded her that we walk. As we browsed shops, Leah kept whining and asking for a cab. I stayed patient, offered water and snack breaks, and even suggested the subway to be nice. But she refused when she learned what it was. A few hours in, we stopped for dinner at a place with options for everyone. Leah complained again and said that she wanted to go home. I pulled her aside to check if she was sick or upset. She just said that it was boring. I told her we'd be there a few more hours for the show, but if she wanted to leave, she could call her mom. Leah called, and her mom asked me to bring her back. Even if my mom or I left with Leah and took a train back after we dropped her off, we'd miss the show, and my daughter wanted both of us there. I explained we wouldn't head back until after the show. Leah's mom didn't want to pay for a train ticket or drive. She eventually sent Leah's dad, who picked her up before the show. Leah stayed crabby through dinner. Afterwards, Leah's mom trashed me to the other moms, but they backed me up, saying they wouldn't expect me to cut the trip short unless a child was sick or hurt, which I would do. Now, Leah's mom won't let her hang out with my daughter. I can't help wondering if I should have just sucked it up and taken her home. Am I the butthole? Hey, OP! Neither one of you has to hang out with Leah anymore. Sounds like an unexpected bonus. Thanks for the Christmas present, Leah. What a terrible family. This is your daughter's birthday party, and Leah and the mom made it all about themselves. What kind of crummy person comes to someone else's party and is like, yo, this party sucks. This birthday party is lame. You're lame. I don't like this. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. Leah gets, she's only 12, so I guess 1 out of 5 buttholes. Can't really expect 1-year-olds to understand the ways of the world. This is pretty basic friendship 101 stuff. So, okay, 2 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for not caring that my kids have more than their stepkids and half-siblings at their mom's house? My ex-wife and I, both in our 30s, had a very bitter divorce. She cheated on me, tried to make me take responsibility for a child who was unlikely to be mine, had an abortion after she realized I would DNA test that child and would end my parental responsibility if I wasn't the father. Then she accused me of making her miscarry. She tried to ask for alimony and child support when alimony was nowhere near entering the picture. She did get some child support, but we shared 50-50 of our 2 sons, so it was never as much as she was hoping for. She remarried and became a stepmother and a mother again. The other children are all over the place in age. Our sons are 9 and 11. Our sons have more than their step and half siblings because I can provide these things for them. We go places that my ex-wife and her husband cannot afford. They can do as many activities as they want as long as they actually want to do them, and I happily pay for that. My kids have a gaming room at my house. They get nice birthday parties with their friends. The works. My ex-wife and her husband cannot afford this, and in the last year, they've become more vocal about it because the children in their home feel bad. My ex-wife wanted me to include the other children in the experiences that I give my kids and the parties that I throw for them, but we do everything separate. And I've responded via our co-parenting app that it's better that we continue doing things separately and that I'm not obligated to provide for their children in any way. This pressure from her has increased since the summer when the kids and I did an extended Disney vacation, and then they got a second vacation that included my parents, siblings, and their families. My ex-wife said it's disgusting that I would let the disparity continue to grow and that I show no concern for the other children involved. As far as I'm concerned, they are not my children, and therefore not my responsibility, and my sons don't want to include them. But I am prepared to be wrong if that's what the consensus is, because children are involved. I think everyone has a responsibility to protect fellow children. If a child is in a burning building, you should at least call the fire department. If a child is drowning, you should at least pull him out of the lake. But that doesn't mean that we're all obligated to throw other kids' birthday parties and buy them expensive gifts. It's very simple, OP. Not your kids, not your problem. OP, you get 0 out of 5 butthole. I'm giving your wife 3 out of 5 buttholes for the cheating and all that drama. That was rSlash Am I the Butthole, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.